Oh, good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Oh, look at that jovial sight in Beaminster.
Yeah, more importantly, of course, is the 4 candles.
Oh.
That is. As I said, due to fire regulations, I'm now going to have to blow it out, but you carry on talking. We are done.
So,
For another
ladies and
year.
gentlemen, this might be a first. We've got a merry, happy rural dean.
Yep.
Yes.
No,
Wow.
no such things as happy rural deans, just to let you know.
David is smiling and happy and cheery.
Well, let's just keep that let's keep that memory. Get us through the next year.
Yeah, as I heard you insulting the Beaminster team last week on Rev Chat.
Did we? What did we say?
You see, you have to.
It was just lack of staying power. That's what we commented on.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Actually,
200 not out, 201, and we've given up.
That's right. You've got it, Chris. Actually, it was quite a thing because I had no intention of being here, but then due to the rail strike of all things, Rev Chat was interrupted because I had to take my daughter number 1 back to Weymouth to catch a coach at 20 to 9 in the morning.
Wow.
Which, due to being late arriving in Weymouth, don't ask me why, because it was only coming from the garage, which was late arriving in Weymouth. She got to London late, missed a connection, so the journey took 13 hours to get back to Manchester.
Oh,
and
dear.
So she complained, and they've refunded her ticket completely, which means that it's very dangerous. She may come down again. She hasn't offered to give me the money back because I paid for the ticket in the first place.
Well, she's made a good profit there then.
Welcome to parenting.
That's daughters for you, isn't it, Chris? I should say, well, you wouldn't know, would you, Chris? That's daughters for you, you see.
Well, just being a parent.
It was lovely to see her, and I had a lovely drive over the coast road very early in the morning in the rain, and that's why I wasn't here. But it was a very good Rev Chat. Very, very good. It was worthy of number 201.
Good.
Well,
now he's going to tell us.
We've had a bit of a dilemma today because we're uncertain as to whether we should talk about the readings for Advent 4 or for Christmas, hence wearing the Christmas jumper. Please note that Reverend Grass, is a bit of a humbug. He's not got his Christmas jumper on. I'm not sure whether Debs has or not. It's green. He could have a mistletoe picture on it or something.
Sadly not. It's sadly not. But
but we did kind of, or at least Debs and I did, kind of decided that it was very much the same because it's a lot about Mary and stuff like that. So there we are.
You can see my Christmas hat in the background, hanging on the door.
Why don't you don it?
Do you want me to go and put my hat on?
Yes.
He has worn a hat before for Rev Chat, Deb.
It was probably the same one.
Oh, let's see. I don't think I've got anything I can.
Only a £10 note you found on your table.
I found a £10 note. Yes, I've got some holly next door. But...
Unexpected Christmas present.
Oh, very nice, Chris. Yeah. Oh, at a jaunty angle as well.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, yes.
You got to remember, when I arrived here, I had to have a lesson. I took a hat back for being the wrong size, and I had a lesson in Snooks for 20 minutes of being told how to put a hat on correctly.
Wow.
Which wasn't actually quite like it is now.
That's professionalism for you.
There we are. Never mind.
Hey.
Did you wear that for the golfers' dinner the other night, Chris?
No.
Shame.
No, well, I did get rather insulted for the Christmas jumper I put on.
Wow.
So there we are.
Speechless.
There we are. Well, I'm trying to mirror Father Christmas just for today. No bar humbugs today for me. All jolly and happy. As the big day gets ever nearer. It seems to have come round very, very quickly this year. I don't know about you.
Advent seems to have been very short.
It has been short, yeah.
It's even shorter for some who haven't got services on Advent services on Sunday morning.
Yeah, but that's because we've got loads and loads and loads of Christmas services.
Oh, Chris, don't try and make an excuse. I won't tell the bishop. You're okay.
The bishop might be watching this.
Oh, hello, Bishop. Yeah, hello, if you are. Good to see you.
And if you are
Anyway.
watching, Bishop, you're most welcome to come and join us on any Thursday morning that you're available.
She's quite, I'm sure, safe not to do so. But there we are.
I think the bishop is more discerning, actually.
Absolutely, as bishops indeed should be, discerning people. But we may invite her for episode number 500, whenever that could be.
Yeah.
Right, who's going to do a bit of reading today? Anybody got the reading?
No, I got the reading. We're doing.
Oh, great.
We're doing
Lovely.
Mary, aren't we?
We are. Let's have a bit of a break, shall we?
We're going to read Mary, and then talk about Christmas. So we're reading the full Sunday of Advent, and then talking about Christmas.
We can talk about both, Chris.
Yeah.
Luke chapter 1. In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a town in Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin engaged to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary. And he came to her and said, "Greetings, favoured one. The Lord is with you." But she was much perplexed by his words and pondered what sort of greeting this might be. The angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favour with God. And now you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. And the Lord God will give to him the throne of his ancestor David. He will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end." Mary said to the angel, "How can this be, since I am a virgin?" The angel said to her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore, the child to be born will be holy. He will be called Son of God. And now your relative Elizabeth, in her old age, has also conceived a son. And this is the 6th month for her, who was said to be barren. For nothing will be impossible with God." Then Mary said, "Here am I, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word." Then the angel departed from her.
Well, I'm very fortunate to be the rector of one of the very few churches in the Church of England which is dedicated to the Annunciation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. A friend of mine, William Price, who used to be a lecturer in church history, etc., at Lampeter, he was telling me, because he's an expert on churches, it seems, that there are only 24 Anglican churches dedicated in England to the Annunciation.
Oh. Which church is that?
I've never tried to find out or check up, but there you are. So that's the story about the Annunciation, isn't it? The angel Gabriel appears, boom, and off we went. Nice. Oh, hang on a second. The dog doesn't like the Annunciation story. She prefers the. So she's telling me. Yeah. So there we are. The Annunciation. How would you feel if an angel suddenly appeared over your shoulder, Debs, and told you that kind of news?
Well, yeah, I think it's quite staggering, actually, how calm and how calm Mary is. I heard this lovely story once about this fountain in Germany somewhere where it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's a water fountain where people can have a drink, and on a hot day, it's looking very inviting. The thing is that people go to it, and then there's no levers, and so they often go away really upset and fed up because they can't get a drink. But every now and again, someone just sticks their neck out expecting to get a drink, and then the water just wells up. And I've told that story about this reading because Mary does stick her neck out. There's no reason for her to go along with this. It sounds fantastical. And also, when you start thinking about it, it's not just, a small thing. She's giving her whole life to bear God into the world. And, there's lots of heartache along with that. So it is an amazing story. Yeah, sticking your neck out and going with it, and all that comes from that. Yes, Mary saying yes. Yeah, so I'm not made of as good stuff as Mary, that's for sure.
Do you think, Mary, just like you say, she was very accepting. In today's scientific world, we just say, no, that's wrong, can't do that, that ain't going to happen. No, this is wrong, that's impossible. Science doesn't agree with you. This ain't going to happen. And I'd love sometimes, actually, they didn't really know all the science of stuff. But back in those days, there was so much, a lovely element of accepting. And I sometimes wonder how often God tells us something and we just dismiss it.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's all to do with science, because I think it is to do with understanding something of the magnitude of that voice. So, because there are some people around now who I often think about, people who are foster carers and things, and you read about families, women and men, who over the years have cared for dozens of children, and some of them come from difficult places, and it's a really hard job, but they just say yes every time these children appear. And I remember reading about this story once about this woman, and she had fostered people over many, many years, and her family wanted to do a lovely big party for her because it was her birthday. She was probably about 70 or 80. And they invited as many people over the years, and their back garden was full of people who were grown up now, who had been fostered. So it's everyday stuff as well, saying yes, saying yes to, things that seem impossible. It seems impossible to open your heart to that many people, or, people in our churches or in our community who, carry on with stuff. They do things over years and years. I don't know. I think it's amazing, really.
That's the other part of the story for me that I often talk about, is the fact that in accepting as she did, and knowing what consequences that could have, particularly with their law of becoming pregnant before being married, particularly if you were betrothed, the idea that that Joseph had already paid her family for her for later, so to speak. First of all, he could have took her home, couldn't he, and demanded his bride price back, as I think it was known. And secondly, she could have been stoned to death. But on top of all of that, it also then created the fact that Joseph also became a foster parent in a way, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think all of these stories, it's so beautiful. But as you say, it's the, it's the accepting, I don't know. It's as you say. It is a fantastical story, really. Who would accept it? If a lot of younger women would probably have said, "Not tonight, Gabriel. I'm washing my hair," or Can you find somebody better than me? And we don't know why God chose her particularly. on that particular time. 'Cause it
Mm.
must have been thought through a little bit before. Who are we going to have? Who's the one? Well, not her. She's not quite. What about this one here? And eventually down. Yeah, it's a fantastic story with so many consequences for the future.
Yeah, and it's her whole life.
Yeah.
It's not just like a 2-week thing that you do and then it's over with. It was forever. It changed who she was.
Well, we often use the word about ministry, don't we? And I used to use it about nursing, and others about teaching in what we class now as the old days. It was vocation, it was calling,
Yeah.
as opposed to a job.
But also, God worked in all the people around her, 'cause for all those things you said, David. She wasn't stoned.
Mm-hmm.
God did work with Joseph to still take her to accept what had happened and that it was God, and that must have extended to the family.
Yep.
To accept, and actually, I think sometimes isn't that a challenge for us?
Yeah.
God's working in people, and let's believe that God is working in people, and accept it and accept the message, and help spread it, and be more understanding. It's very quick to condemn somebody for getting something wrong, but when you see God working, it takes a lot of people and a whole community to accept what God's up to.
So that calling, of course, led on to the eventual birth of a baby, didn't it? Did you notice the segue there towards Christmas, Chris?
Oh, and as I got asked by one of the school children, why was Jesus born on Christmas Day?
Good question. Good question. What answer did you give, Chris?
I probably said something like the day was born on behalf in benefit of Jesus. Can't remember quite how I phrased it. That the day was named after him rather than.
I often say to the children at school, around this time, I always say to them at the very end of whatever I've been talking about, just promise me one thing that you'll do on Christmas Day. And they all go, yes, David, yes, Reverend David, we'll do. And I say, when you're opening all your presents and you're ripping the paper off with excitement, will you just stop for 1 minute and say thank you to God for Jesus? Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be at home ripping presents up. You'd be back in school, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And they all look at you. And I remember a few years ago, one child from the school at the academy, because I was standing in for Fiona at the time for a service around Christmas. One child later said to me when I saw him in the street, "Mummy and I did stop on Christmas Day. We thank God for Jesus."
Oh.
So you don't know what we are. You say these words, don't you? You're never quite sure.
You're never quite sure.
Yeah, what happened. So it's lovely to think that after all these nearly 30 years of saying that every year at various schools, so somebody had taken it on board. That was lovely.
Yeah. We had our Wild and Messy Church on Tuesday, and it was all very Christmassy. The kids all dressed up and told the Christmas story again. But one of the things we had, there were lots of presents for all the children, but we had a little bundle of things, and they could come and choose something, and we'd wrap it up for them to give to their mum or dad or their nan or something.
Oh, lovely.
It was really nice, and they all were very excited. And then at the end, this little boy came up to me and he said, it was really nice for us to do that. He said, but we need to wrap up a present for Jesus.
Yes, again, that's lovely.
It was really nice. So he'd obviously thought about giving and about Jesus' birthday and all of that. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think
often been flabbergasted by the children. I think I've asked them. I think I did it last year rather than this year. About do you prefer to give presents or receive presents? And after they'd thought about it for 30 seconds, most of them said, actually, the pleasure of giving somebody and putting a smile on somebody else's face is actually better than just receiving a present.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many things these days, aren't there, of ways that people use Christmas. I've been not surprised because I know these services exist, but I've been picking up a number of places that I follow on Facebook, like the church where I grew up, etc. Tonight they're all having these blue, is it blue Christmas services for those who've died,
Yeah.
and I think the hospice movement really started that, and the Rotary Club, didn't they, where you could have a bauble or a light put on the Christmas tree for people. So there's all kinds of things of remembrance, and because Christmas isn't a happy time for everybody, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's a
You know,
difficult time.
it isn't. You know, it's not just those who've lost a loved one, but if you're alone or you're lonely or you're on the streets, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's not, and a lot of people, as I often say, forget that they go to all this hassle for months and months and months,
Mm.
and then if you're not careful, you actually miss Jesus on Christmas Day because you're so busy rushing around.
Yeah.
And for me, as I said very few weeks ago now, Advent is my favourite season because I do try to find time to just stop each day and just be in what is a busy world.
Yeah.
And I think my message this Advent has been don't let the anticipation of Christmas be overshadowed by the preparation.
I think that's a good message, Chris. Yeah, good message. Yeah.
The children are just excited for Christmas.
Yeah.
We rush around because we've got to do so much. We forget to be excited.
Yeah.
And we just sit down.
You two look very excited because you're both looking very festive, whereas I'm just wearing the dog.
Where's your Christmas hat, Deb?
She's like my little sheep on the hillside.
She is. And that's another amazing thing about this whole story of Christmas. As I was saying at the carol service at Melplash last night, who were the people who were called to see the baby first? There was this vagabond group of old dirty shepherds out on the hillside. It was the ordinary people that were bought way before these kings and magi and whatever all arrived. And the story, we don't know anything, only what we read in scripture. We think there were three kings. It couldn't have been, could there? Three old men wouldn't have travelled across a dangerous country on their own with all those valuable things. They'd have had a whole retinue of people following them. And after all, there must have been women there as well, mustn't there? Because they'd have cooked the dinner for them. Think about this day. You have to get all this right.
If they're kings, David, they would have stopped at every one of the most expensive hotels and pubs on the route.
Yeah, well, do you mean...
And they would have had servants washing their clothes for them.
Yeah, there you are, Magi King. So this wonderful story, though, is that for me, is about that we're all called, whoever we are, wherever we are, whatever our background, our life, our culture, we're all called to the manger to see the child.
What I was saying, actually, those two revelations, the wise men following the star to Jesus and the angel appearing to the shepherds. In those two statements, you've got the local and the foreigner.
Yep.
Got the rich and the poor.
Yep.
So Jesus appeared, or God revealed to everyone in society that Jesus was born. It wasn't just a particular group of people. It wasn't particularly only the poor or only the rich, only one local group of people.
Or those that go to church.
The near and the far, the poor and the rich.
I agree with that. I was thinking about it the other day because we've got that lovely nativity scene in St Mary's here in Bridport, and we always used to have it up by the high altar. And it was great when you were in church because as you looked beyond the altar that we use most of the time, up to the high altar, you could see the nativity scene. But for the last 2 years, we've moved it and we've put it so it faces the door. And I was thinking about that and thinking this story isn't just for people in church. It is for everybody. And so now, instead of it being up there when we're worshipping on a Sunday and we can see it. It looks great up there. Now it's facing the doors and loads more people are talking about it and coming in to look at it. And at the food bank, you know, it's right in the middle of everything that's happening.
And
I just thought it isn't our story. It belongs to everybody. And that's why people came to the pub last night at the Woodman to sing carols. They might not come to church, but it was great. It was just so lovely that everyone joins in. It keeps us, you know, thinking we might all believe something slightly different from each other, but it is a uniting force. So yeah, it is.
Didn't
It's
you
for
say
everyone.
that people were commenting on your nativity scene about the absence of the baby Jesus?
Oh yes, yeah.
There.
Yeah, they were. They still were. And we had all the little tots come in, and the mums were saying, "Well, but where's Jesus?" And then we were saying, you know, Jesus is going to be put in the crib on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I think it's great when people are asking, "Where's Jesus? Where's Jesus?" You know, we ought to be doing that more.
So you are really making Jesus known down in Bridport.
We are, and the fact that people notice that Jesus isn't there is about wondering about Jesus and where he is. So it's good.
And you got your big nativity play, haven't you? This on Saturday
on Saturday the Bridport Nativity is happening. It's happening in the church. We sometimes do it outside, but we decided to be in church because everyone seems to be happy to come in, and that's great. Yeah.
Well, there we are, dear viewer. We hope you have a good Advent 4, and then have a very, very happy Christmas. And we won't be here for next week, will we, Chris?
No, we're having a pause next week, but we will be back in the new year.
We will. So lovely to see you. You know where we all are. A very happy Christmas to you. Very happy Christmas, Chris, and to you, Debs. Very happy Christmas to Harry, and thanks again for all the hard work in putting this up on the various platforms. And we'll see you in the new year, refreshed and equally as happy. Debs, you're going to be away for a few weeks in January, aren't you?
I will, but I'll be back before you know it.
We will. Well, we look forward to that. Have a good rest. You deserve it.
Cheers.
And we'll see you soon. All right.
All right.
Bye now, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Happy Christmas.
Bye. Happy Christmas.